tragic news coming across from Mumbai. Legendary filmmaker, Bollywood filmmaker Yash Chopra has passed away. This is news that we can confirm to you at this stage. The veteran filmmaker, it is understood, has passed away following dengue. He was hospitalized after a brief illness due to dengue. Now, confirmation coming across that the legendary filmmaker has in fact now passed away. Just a few weeks away from yet another spectacular release, which would have seen him make a return to direction with the Shah Rukh Khan starrer that's on the floors now, set to release very soon. Headline says Lada Gurden Singh now joins us. Lada, tragic news most certainly coming across from Mumbai. Yash Chopra passing away.
Absolutely, Aditya. This is an absolutely shocking news. We just a few weeks back, he celebrated his 80th birthday. In fact, there's a gala function that happened where he spoke about his life and times. And at that function, he had spoken about how Jab Tak Hai Jaan, his next release, was going to be his swan song. And last week, he contracted dengue, and he had been on life support system for past 2-3 days. But doctors were hopeful, that he would recover. However, tragedy, absolute tragedy. It's extremely shocking, and it has completely sent Bollywood in a state of shock. We are still trying to get more details out of there.
All right, Lada, just stay on with us. Nayan Jyoti also now joins us. Nayan, absolutely tragic news coming across. Just celebrated his 80th birthday, like Lada was pointing out a few weeks ago. A huge release marking his return to direction on the floors as well with the Shah Rukh Khan starrer Jab Tak Hai Jaan. But the legend there leaving such a big hole.
It's a complete tragedy. It's a complete tragedy for a man who has made such remarkable movies to miss that last shot. I mean, he was yet to complete his movie. If I may add, the last song sequence was yet to be shot in Switzerland for Jab Tak Hai Jaan, which releases next month. For him to fall ill and for him to go in such an untimely way, in such a manner, it's really unfair. And yes, the industry right now is in a state of shock. Let me tell you, people like Rani Mukherjee, Shah Rukh had just gone to meet him in last couple of days. They had gone and met him, and but they have been keeping in loop. But then this comes as a complete shock. No one expected this one.
Well, no, stay on. Lada, I mean, this is most certainly one of the pillars of Bollywood cinema, as it were, iconic for its filmmaking. And he was marking his return after such a long time to direction as well, with this new movie coming across, starring some of the heavyweights of the industry. The reactions are coming across. Mahesh Bhatt's reaction on Twitter is one that I also read, expressing shock and disbelief. I know it's early still, but any reactions you're picking up?
But Aditya, as we speak, the reactions are pouring in on Twitter, right from all the celebrities involved. And what we do understand is that, a lot of people are on their way to actually Lavati Hospital, where Mr. Yash Chopra was being treated. But as of now, I mean, the only thing that we can really say is that the industry collectively in a state of shock. And as this news is spreading, this is going to be the biggest news of 2012 really, because he was in fact one of the biggest directors ever in Indian cinema, and the longest, he was the most prolific director, I would also say, and somebody who directed cinema for almost 59 years of his 80-year-old life. So that's completely phenomenal and a huge loss to the Indian film industry.
And there's association as well, the likes of, we talk about Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan from Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, these movies that he was associated with, produced, directed, the stars that, he sort of built for the Indian film industry. We're playing out shots of that interaction that he had with Shah Rukh Khan and the media on the occasion of his 80th birthday just a few weeks ago. 21st of October was when his birthday was. I mean, just paint a picture for us, because certainly his impact on Bollywood, on filmmaking, on legends, in terms of acting as well, was absolutely immense.
Absolutely, Aditya. In fact, if one were to really look at the career of Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan, Yash Chopra played a phenomenal role in there. He directed, he gave Amitabh Bachchan one of the biggest cult films of his time. He gave him Diwar. That's like one of the biggest movies. He gave him Trishul. If we talk of Shah Rukh Khan, the 20 years, in the entire 22-year career of Shah Rukh Khan, for 20 years he was associated with Mr. Yash Chopra right from Dar onwards. And in fact, when Shah Rukh Khan came on horizon, Yash Chopra was the only director from the Yash banner who actually directed him. And it's a huge shock. I mean, it's very difficult to really put it into words. But this is really a completely shocking
Okay,
news.
Lara, just stay on for a moment. Ms. Shabana Azmi now joins us. Ma'am, your thoughts on this tragic news coming across?
It's completely heartbreaking. Because yesterday when they were discussing that he's on the ventilator, I made light of it and I said that's very common, in dengue and there's nothing to worry. And of course he comes out of it fighting sick, and this is just completely incredible because he just celebrated his 80th birthday with so much joie de vivre. And I wrote him a note and said, yesterday we want to watch 80 more films from you, and we waited so long after Veer Zara, and he just completed this film. And how could he just go? Just heartbreaking. It's difficult to assimilate this or to make any coherent remarks, except that my heart goes out to Sam and to Adi and to Uday and the family.
Ma'am, understandably, you had a very close relationship.
Anything that you say is just so trite and so inconsequential compared to the body of work Yash Chopra has done and the kind of cinema he's been associated with, where there's never been an iota of any kind of vulgarity or indecency, and he represents a cinema and an era that we are all rightfully proud of.
Absolutely, and a true legend of the industry as well. Ma'am, the way, of course, you're speaking about him, the relationship you shared with him as well, it's well known that the kind of impact he's had on the industry, his sheer craft as well, particularly more disturbing given that, we're just a few weeks away from what would have been a return to direction for him, that the new movie that's slated to come out for him.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you just look at his interview with Shah Rukh Khan on his birthday, see, he's full of beans, and he's always there. And I mean, the last time I met him was at Amitabh Bachchan's birthday, where he went on. He was slightly under the weather, but he went up on stage and made his speech, and he was fine. And I gave him a big hug and said, 80 more films we are seeing, and it was all hunky dory. It's just too sad and heartbreaking.
Absolutely. We understand your sentiments, ma'am. Thanks very much for speaking to us, and also, of course, sharing at this troubled time, this tragic time, just the kind of impact that Yash Chopra had. Mr. Ashok Pandit, also now a renowned filmmaker, joins us. Sir, your thoughts on this very tragic news coming across from Mumbai?
I think no word can express this tragedy and this sadness which has taken over the industry. In fact, about a month back, I met him, for the centenary year celebrations on the behalf of the Directors Association. And one cannot believe, that he can go like this, amongst us. And look at the title of his last film, Jab Tak Hai Jaan. And his announcement from retirement from the, from making films. Probably he must have got an intuition that he is retiring from his life. We have lost an institution. I think, in fact, we have lost a father of the industry who knew what romance was, who knew what filmmaking was. You see, after such a long time, he made a film called Veer Zara. And he proved to the country, he proved to the nation that he's the best filmmaker. He cannot be shunted out as a person who doesn't belong to this, this age or this time of filmmaking. He came, he again won the hearts of the people. I think he was a natural talent. He was a master. He was an institution by himself. Today also, when we used to see him or look at him, we used to feel confident that we have a hand of a godfather, in Indian cinema who is there alive amongst us, and we can't go wrong. He inspired the generations into filmmaking, and really we used to consider him, and we still consider him as a father of the film industry. A timid, a low profile, down to film producer, director, never showed his arrogance, in his filmmaking, and also as a human being. We have lost the father of the industry. I can't say anything more than this.
The father of the industry is someone who's passed away, says Ashok Pandit. Thanks very much, sir, for joining us. Prem Chopra now also joins us, legendary actor. Sir, your thoughts on what's really happened across in Mumbai, this tragic news coming across the passing of Yash Chopra.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, sir, go on, sir.
Your phone, hold on, please. Hello?
Mr. Prem Chopra, sir, if you can hear me, your thoughts on this tragic passing away of Mr. Yash Chopra.
Hello? Hi. Hello?
Well, I will try and reconnect with Mr. Prem Chopra as well. This is the tragic news coming across from Mumbai. We can confirm to you that Yash Chopra has in fact passed away. He was suffering from dengue. Lada Gurdain Singh tracking reactions as well. Lada, you know, from the words that Shabana Azmi, Ashok Pandit spoke right now, we can, of course, it's fair to say that this is a huge loss. We all know, you know, what he contributed to movie making, to the industry itself, the kind of impact you were talking about on some of the other actors that have grown into such icons itself of the industry. You know, and again, even more tragic, Mr. Ashok Pandit was making that point about the title of his next movie, Jab Tak Hai Jaan. You know, it goes to show Lada that, you know, perhaps he had an intuition. Lada, are you there with us? Right, we'll try and reconnect with Lada in just a moment as well. News that we can confirm to you, the veteran filmmaker Yash Chopra has passed away in Mumbai. He was suffering from dengue. He was on ventilator as well. Shabana Azmi was speaking to us a few moments ago, telling us that she thought that this was routine. This was, of course, just a case of a dengue. Let's, in fact, listen in to what Shabana Azmi just told us a few seconds ago.
It's completely heartbreaking. Because yesterday when they were discussing that he's on the ventilator, I made light of it and I said that's very common. You know, in dengue, and there's nothing to worry. And of course, he comes out of it finally sick, and this is just completely incredible because he just celebrated his 80th birthday with so much joie de vivre. And you know, I wrote him a note and said, yesterday we want to watch 80 more films from you, and we waited so long after Veer Zara, and he just completed this film. How could he just go? Just heartbreaking. It's difficult to assimilate this or to make any coherent remarks, except that my heart goes out to Sam and to Adi and to Uday and the family.
Ma'am, understandably, you had a very close relationship.
Anything that is just so trite and so inconsequential compared to the body of work Yash Chopra has done, and the kind of cinema he's been associated with, where there's never been an iota of any kind of vulgarity or indecency, and he represents a cinema and an era that we are all rightfully proud of.
Absolutely, and a true legend of the industry as well. Ma'am, you know, the way, of course, you're speaking about him, the relationship you shared with him as well, you know, it's well known that the kind of impact he's had on the industry, his sheer craft as well, you know, particularly more disturbing given that, you know, we're just a few weeks away from what would have been a return to direction for him, you know, that the new movie that's slated to come out for him.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you just look at his interview with Shah Rukh Khan on his birthday, just see he's full of beans. And he's all there, and I mean, the last time I met him was at Amitabh Bachchan's birthday, where he went on, he was slightly under the weather, but he went up on stage and made his speech, and he was fine, and I gave him a big hug and said, you know, 80 more films we are seeing, and it was all hunky-dory. It's just too sad and heartbreaking.
Shabana Azmi there speaking to Headlines today, certainly reacting and speaking about the closeness that they shared, the kind of impact that Yash Chopra has had on the industry. Nayan Jyoti now joins us. Nayan, certainly the entire industry is reeling from this shock that has come across the passing of Yash Chopra.
Exactly. I mean, it's something that leaves you speechless, doesn't it? Yash Chopra, such an icon. He's not just a filmmaker. He's been a father figure to the entire industry. He's someone who has been a part of all these film bodies. He's someone who the industry looks up to for any possible thing. He's not just a director, he's been one of the best producers ever. He's made Yash Raj the #1 banner of filmmaking in the country. That man has single-handedly done so much for Indian cinema. It is such a sad day for Indian cinema. And if you talk about the celebrities, and not just celebrities, even otherwise, you just need to sign into Twitter and see what the reaction is on the cyber world. And you will see the whole craze for Yash Chopra. It's such a phenomenon.
You know, and the other thing I'm picking up on the social networking websites as well, where people are of course coming out and paying their respects to Yash Chopra, is the kind of demeanor he had about himself as well. I mean, yes, he was a true legend, in the industry for over the last 5 decades. Yet he was so approachable, such a accomplished filmmaker. Yet he was always challenging himself, coming back to making more movies.
Exactly. You have to, at 80, he's made, I mean, if you've seen the promos we have not seen the movie yet, it's releasing next month. If you see the promo of Jab Tak Hai Jaan, it looks so sleek for a person who's 80 years old to make something like that.
Nayan, just hang on for a moment. Let's also speak to Prakash Jha. Sir, your thoughts on this tragic news coming across?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Your thoughts on the passing away of Yash Chopra, sir. Tragic news coming across.
I am quite numb. Such a stunning news, and of course, everybody will know that an institution has passed away. And such a zinda dil admi, such a romantic at heart, and such an important chapter of our history, Indian cinema history. Mr. Yash Chopra is no more. It's hard to believe that, really.
And even worse, given the fact that this tragedy has happened just a few weeks, before the release of a movie which was supposed to be his return to direction.
Yeah, and ironically, he had said just a few days ago that this is my last film. I don't know how he knew about it. Yeah, it's difficult to fathom this. It's very, very difficult.
So, as someone who's very acclaimed in the craft of direction as well of filmmaking as yourself, how do you really see Yash Chopra, his contribution? We all call him this icon of movie making. The way you assess it, sir.
I mean, what can you say? That man had done every kind of film and excelled in everything, and he was like one-man army. I mean, he rose, like Phoenix. His contribution is amazing. I mean, his kind of cinema and his kind of sensibility, it's hard to imagine anyone will have.
Well, certainly will be the benchmark that future generations try and match up. Prakash Jha, thanks very much for speaking with us. Komal Nahata also now joins us, film critic. Your thoughts on this tragic news coming across?
I'm shocked, like the rest of the world is. It's unbelievable. Nobody expected that he would never return home. Of course, dengue is quite a serious illness, but all the news that one got was that yes, he's recuperating, he's better. But I guess the blood count, that was the problem. It never came up to the desired level. And in fact, just 1.5, less than 2 days back, Shah Rukh had told me, the film is complete, we can release it the way it is, Jab Tak Hai Jaan. But it was my suggestion, that is Shah Rukh's suggestion, that since this is going to be Yash Chopra's last film, he should, picturize at least 4 lines of a song in Switzerland, in the typical Yash Chopra style, because it has to have the Yash Chopra stamp.
The signature.
And he said, I don't know now whether we'll be able to go, but this is all that is remaining. Without this also, the film can be released. And it's so shocking that it will not happen. It's so shocking.
Well, certainly, this is the kind of impact that Yash Chopra has had. You can talk about the national awards he's won, the Filmfare awards he's won, but Komal, the kind of impact that he's had on the individuals in the industry, that's what's going to be his legacy.
Yes, I don't think it has sunk in, the news of his death, although we are seeing that channels, various television channels reporting the news, but it's so difficult to believe because it was so full of lies. And, just now on his 80th birthday celebration, it was, all of us were witness to his interview which he gave to Shah Rukh Khan. Shah Rukh Khan was interviewing him about his life and his career, and little did anybody know that that would be one of his last ever interviews.
In fact, Komal, we're playing out those pictures, that conversation that Shah Rukh Khan had with Yash Chopra, and it is ironic in that sense that, that was perhaps the last conversation that he was going to have, speaking about his life on a public platform. And in the same breath, one can say that, he looked so full of life even then. I mean, yes, it's an illness, a disease like dengue, which has claimed him, but, the kind of contribution he made as a person as well, absolutely immense.
Exactly, and it's so sad, but the title of his last film actually exemplifies his life. Jab tak Khajan was only working. I mean, he never took rest as a filmmaker, or he just didn't hang his boots. And he was to hang his boots after this, but probably God ordained otherwise. And I think God said that, you have to make films till you're alive, and it's really terrible.
And Komal, before I let you go, as a film critic, because you would view his movies from a different perspective altogether. The kind of contribution that he's made to the industry in terms of the kind of films that he's made. Forget the commercial success as well. Certainly a lesson in itself.
Oh yes, I think there was nobody to touch the genre of romantic film the way Yash Chopra did. I mean, he redefined romance, and the best part was that when he was 60 plus, he made a film like Dil To Pagal Hai, which could give any youngster, any young filmmaker a complex of his life, because it was so happening, so today, so youthful, so topical, that nobody could have said that it was directed by Yash Chopra. So his biggest plus point was that he kept in touch with the times and with the youngsters, which is why his films were ageless and were so contemporary.
Komal Nahata, thanks very much for joining us. Certainly,